6:01 Thursday morning. Good morning to you. Surrey's mayor is clarifying her comments about the RCMP making significant progress in solving the murder of a local hockey mom. Greg Harper joins us live from Newton this morning with the details. Greg.
Good morning, Kyle. Well, it's been nearly 4 months since the murder of Julie Pascal. A memorial remains up here behind me here outside the Newton Recreation Centre, remembering the 53-year-old mother of 3. Now, the mayor of Surrey, Diane Watts, made some comments during a radio interview yesterday that had raised some hopes that the case was close to being solved, saying that significant progress had been made in the investigation. But she now says she was referring to the ongoing work of investigators. Pascal died last December after she was beaten in the parking lot outside Newton Arena. She was at the arena to pick up her son. Her death caused widespread concern about safety within the community.
I should have said it's significant work as opposed to significant progress, but in my estimation, significant work has been done. And, you know, I commend the investigators because, like I said, the amount of resources and the dedication and the time that they have put into this case is significant. And so I have every confidence that this case will be solved.
Now, as far as the investigation goes, police say they've looked at hundreds of hours of video. Plus, right now, investigators are dealing with over 70 tips from the public. Kyle?
Greg Harper live for us this morning in Newton. Greg, thanks for that. A Surrey man who killed his wife has been ordered to pay $600,000 in damages. Mukhtar Pangali was sued by the family of his ex-wife, Manjeet. The money will go to their 10-year-old daughter, Maya. Manjeet disappeared in 2006, with Mukhtar tearfully appealing for help in finding her. Her burned body was later found in Delta, and her husband was eventually connected to her death. Vancouver police are still trying to identify the city's 4th murder victim of the year. The man was attacked near Oppenheimer Park at around 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. He was rushed to hospital but died shortly after. Investigators don't have a motive, a weapon, or any suspects as of yet. They do believe the attack on the downtown east side was targeted. Some witnesses are cooperating, others are not.
He remains unidentified. That will be part of the investigation, of course. Confirming his identity will advance the investigation quite quickly, I would assume.
Vancouver police are reiterating their policy of ticketing street vendors in the downtown east side. The bylaw prohibiting street vending without a license is currently being challenged in court. Legal representatives say forcing vendors in the downtown east side to obtain a permit costing more than $800 discriminates against the poor. But police say they need to curb illegal activity.
Some of the street vending has, and particularly in the downtown east side is what you're asking, is that the markets have been known as a bit of a cover for illegal activity and drug dealing. It's a tool that can be used in curbing illegal behavior, obviously, ticketing.
The West Vancouver Police Department has asked the Police Complaints Commissioner for help with a high-profile case. The department wants the commissioner to examine the conduct of an officer who dealt with some longboarders last week. The officer appeared to put his vehicle's lights on before driving into the middle of the road, cutting the boarders off. They swerved to avoid colliding with the SUV. Longboarding has been an ongoing issue in recent years on the North Shore, with safety concerns from residents and a fatal crash in North Vancouver. Grieving continues in Calgary as residents try and make sense of the city's worst mass murder. A memorial grows for the 5 university students killed, with suspect Matthew DeGrood being sent away for a psychiatric exam. Police believe the 22-year-old was invited to a house party on Monday, going on a stabbing rampage shortly after he arrived. The victims are Katie Perez, a ballet dancer, Lawrence Hong, a volunteer in the local gay community, Jordan Segura, a funeral home worker and religious studies major, plus Josh Hunter and Zach Rathwell, best friends and members of a band.
He was smiling all the time and really happy to help out. He was our Volunteer of the Year last year at the Fairy Tales Film Festival, and he was just a wonderful individual in general, and running into him in the community was always fantastic. And he was passionate about the community and his friends and music and video games, and like, he was just great. And it's brutal to imagine that he's not going to be around.
DeGrood is expected in Calgary court next Tuesday. His lawyer says he's been able to communicate and understands the murder charges that have been laid against him. Former Finance Minister Jim Flaherty was remembered with a state funeral in Toronto yesterday that mixed emotion with humor. Prime Minister Stephen Harper offered up an equal dose of accolades, poignant memories, and reasons to chuckle in his eulogy to his late colleague. Among the mourners were Flaherty's wife and triplet sons, federal party leaders, some former prime ministers, plus longtime friend and Toronto Mayor Rob Ford.
There are so many ways I could describe the Honourable Jim Flaherty. He was a man who was highly principled and ruthlessly pragmatic, combative but engaging, smart, very smart, and educated, while never assuming that he knew it all. He could be hard-headed, yet also soft-hearted. He could display a quick and biting temper, but far more often, a deep and gentle sense of humor.